For the longest time, what made a building valuable was pretty simple: location, location, location. But what if I told you that's just not enough anymore? There's a whole new framework that's rewriting the rules of real estate, and it all comes down to sustainability. So, let's get into how a building's green credentials are becoming just as crucial as its address.
So how can a building, a structure of concrete and steel, actually have a resume? I know, it sounds a little weird, right? But in today's market, that's exactly what's happening. Buildings are being judged on their credentials, just like a job applicant. The real question is, what are those credentials, and why do they suddenly matter so much to investors?
Well, the answer really boils down to three little letters that are totally shaking up the financial world: ESG. You've probably heard this acronym floating around, but what does it actually mean? And more importantly, what on earth does it have to do with the building you might be sitting in right now? Let's break it all down.
At its heart, ESG stands for environmental, social, and governance. Think of it like a report card that helps investors look way beyond the typical balance sheet. They're not just asking, is this company making money anymore? Now they're asking, is this company a responsible citizen? It is a massive shift in how big investment decisions get made.
So ESG really breaks down into three main parts. First, E for environmental. That's all about a company's impact on the planet. We're talking carbon emissions, resource use, that kind of thing. Then you have S for social, which looks at how a company treats people, its own employees, its customers, and the communities around it. And finally, G for governance, which is all about the internal stuff: leadership, ethics, transparency. Each piece gives you a much fuller picture of whether a company is built to last.
Okay, so where do buildings fit into all this? Oh, the connection is absolutely massive, especially when you look at the E in ESG. I mean, think about it. From the energy they burn to the materials they're built with, buildings have a huge environmental footprint, and that puts them right in the crosshairs for investors who care about sustainability.
And this is really where the rubber meets the road. See, a building's performance isn't just about how many tenants you have anymore. Now, its key performance indicators, the core metrics for success, include things like energy efficiency, water usage, and how well it manages waste. It's a completely different way of defining what makes a building valuable.
This brings us right back to where we started. If a building's being judged on all this new stuff, how does it actually, prove it's doing a good job? Well, this is where that resume comes into play, the green certification playbook. And listen, this isn't some niche thing happening in a couple of cities. We're talking about a global trend that's picking up steam fast. From New York to New Delhi, green building standards are quickly becoming the new normal. For anyone in real estate, this is no longer a nice to have, it's fast becoming a must-have just to stay in the game. So what does this resume actually look like? Well, welcome to the alphabet soup of green certifications. Here are some of the heavy hitters. You've got LEED, which kicked off in the US but is now a global powerhouse. BREEAM from the UK is another huge one. And then you have more focused standards like GRIHA in India, or WELL, which is all about human health inside the building. These are the gold stars that investors are actively looking for. Okay, fine. Buildings can get these fancy certifications, but so what? Why go through all the trouble and expense? The answer is actually pretty simple: because it pays. Let's look at the real, tangible financial value that comes with having a green certified building.
This is not just for show. We're talking about real money here. Governments are stepping up with actual financial incentives and tax breaks for projects that get certified. And like we said, a strong ESG performance makes a property way more attractive to that growing pool of investors. The takeaway? The money is definitely following the green.
So let's just put it plainly. When you put a certified green building next to a standard one, the advantage is crystal clear. It has higher appeal for investors. It gets access to financial perks that a standard building just can't touch. It's a massive competitive edge in a market that cares more and more about sustainability.
So, when you add it all up, the growing investor demand, the government support, and a clear financial benefit, it all points to one huge question. Is the future of real estate written in green? It really seems like a building's value isn't just about what's inside its walls anymore, but about its impact on the entire world outside them.